Now, the purpose of this movie is to show you how to make Photoshop your default image editor, so you can double-click on an image file at the desktop level and have it open by default inside Photoshop. Now, this specific movie is designed for you Windows users. I'm working on a PC right now. If you're a Macintosh user, skip to the next movie instead, where I show you how to do the exact same thing on a Mac. Now, I'm looking at the contents of the 00 setup folder found inside the exercise files folder that's available to those of you who are premium members or have access to the DVD. And you can see we've got 3 files, all of which seem to be called Welcome. Well, they actually have different extensions. To see those extensions, you have to go over to the Organize menu here under Windows 7 and choose Folder and Search options. If you're using an older version of Windows, then just go ahead and tap the Alt key, and that'll force the display of this little menu here inside of the folder. Click on Tools and then choose Folder Options. Then, inside the Folder Options dialog box, click on the View tab. And then drop down here to this checkbox, Hide Extensions for Known File Types, and turn it off so that you can see the extensions. And now click the OK button, and you will see the extensions after every one of these file names. Now it's time to make Photoshop our default imaging application, and we have to repeat the process I'm about to show you for each one of these file types, for JPEG files, TIFF files, and PSD files. So I'm going to go to the JPEG file first, right-click on it, and then choose Open With. Now, you could choose Adobe Photoshop CS5 at this point, but if you do that, you'll open the JPEG image inside of Photoshop this time and this time only. Instead, what you want to do is choose Default Program. Then, inside the ensuing dialog box, hopefully you'll see Photoshop at the top here. If so, just go ahead and click on it. If you don't see it, then click on this down-pointing arrowhead next to Other Programs, scroll down the list, and see if you can find Photoshop. If you still can't find it, you have to click on this Browse button and locate Photoshop on your hard drive. In my case, I can see it at the top of the list, so I'll go ahead and click on it. Then make sure this checkbox, Always Use the Selected Program to Open This Kind of File, is turned on, and click OK. And that'll go ahead and automatically open the image inside of Photoshop. Then I'll press Ctrl+ to zoom in on the image. All right, let's go ahead and replay that step for the TIFF image. I'll minimize Photoshop, right-click on Welcome.TIFF, and you can do this, by the way, with any JPEG image, any TIFF image, any PSD image. You don't have to use mine. Choose Open With. Go down here to choose Default Program, and then locate Photoshop in the list. Make sure the checkbox is turned on. Click OK. Same thing happens again. You'll go ahead and zoom in on the image if you want to see it up close and personal. All right, so now it's time to repeat that step for the PSD file. I'm going to go ahead and minimize Photoshop once again. Right-click on Welcome.PSD, choose Open With, choose Default Program. Find Adobe Photoshop CS5 inside the dialog box, make sure the checkbox is turned on, and click OK. Now this time, we're going to receive a special error message inside of Photoshop. And here it is. It's telling us that some of the text layers contain missing fonts. So it's very likely that your system doesn't have the fonts that I used to create this layered PSD file. Turns out that's not a problem. Just go ahead and click OK. And you'll notice if you zoom in on this file that even though here in the Layers panel, we've got 3 layers in all that have little warning icons next to them, and that's telling us the fonts are missing. Even so, all of the fonts look great on screen. And that's because Photoshop is that one application out there that even if you're missing a font, as long as you don't edit the type, everything's hunky-dory, because you're seeing a pixel equivalent of that type as well. The final thing I want to mention is that this is a 4-part series. We've got Part 1 Fundamentals, Part 2 Objects, Part 3 Scenes, and Part 4 Type Effects. I just want you to be aware of that. In the next movie, I'm going to show you Macintosh people, if you're still with me for some reason, how to do the exact same thing we saw here. You Windows people don't want to see that, so go ahead and skip to the movie after that, in which I show you how to install my custom DKeys keyboard shortcuts.